Om Tamivo Mata Cha Pita Tamivo Tamiva Bandhuscha Shakha Tamiva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. O Lord, you are my mother, you are my father, you are my friend, and you are my everything. You are the knowledge and you are the wisdom. You are everything, O Lord of Lords. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto us all. So here again, back to our Narada's way of divine love. Last time we have gone through the verses about the different opinions about the bhakti, what is the sign of bhakti, devotion. So today we'll just make a synopsis of that and go to the next next part of it, which has been mentioned as the next chapter in the book. It is not a chapter, but it is just a subdivision to say next it starts with the how to attain supreme love. We'll start. But today we will read 33 verse. But before that, as usual, we'll go through the verses quickly which we have read. So what has been said is that this bhakti, on the verse number 25, it has been said that this bhakti, this love, devotion, is greater than karma, greater than knowledge, greater than yoga, because next 26th verse said, because result of bhakti is bhakti. You love and you become a devotee, automatic. And also, but this does not happen to anyone unless one is humbled. So, God does not like a proud person, egotistic, egocentric person. God dislikes. And also God is very kind to the lowly who is humble. Therefore, it is humility is a sadhana, spiritual practice, and in devotion one should humble down himself. 28th verse he said, some people, some of the teachers of bhakti school, they say that you cannot have bhakti unless you have your knowledge about whom you love. So they say, tasya jnanameva sadhanam. Knowledge is the sadhana you have to practice. Know whom you love. When you know that he is the highest, then your love becomes stable. And if you know, oh, you love somebody, and you know he is much better than that, then your love will move to that. Anything we love. If you had one type of food you are having, and another type of food, oh, it is much better, you know, these are the health result and all the good things, then your mind bends towards that, and your love goes away from the other type of food to the new type of. So similarly, this is the thing you know, you should know God is all-pervading, God is all kind, and it is whole universe, is God's creation, there is nothing but God. Unless you know that, the supreme idea of God, so jnana is a spiritual sadhana. Some say, no, not bhakti, which is humbled, not jnana, but both. It should be jnana also, a part, and also humility should be practiced side by side. So, anna astrayatam ittat. That some teachers of bhakti school say, this bhakti and this knowledge are interdependent. And some say, 30th verse, it says, Swayam phalarupota iti Brahma Kumara. Brahma Kumara means Sukha Sanandan Sanat Kumar and other Narada. They think it is, it brings itself, its result is itself. That means bhakti is the goal to reach and bhakti is the practice. You love God and you become absorbed in God. So you cannot separate out. The path you are following, end result will bring you to that absorption of love. And then the result is that suppose you are not satisfied if you go to you want to see a king's palace, you will not be satisfied by seeing the palace, you want to see the king. You are hungry, you don't want to see the food, but you have to eat. So similarly, that this experience should be done, that is the result which bhakti can give. And tasmat saiva grajya, 33rd verse, what we are reading today. Therefore, to get liberated from this worldly bondage of birth and death, what you have to do? That you have to saiva grajya mumukshu bhihi. So that should be the desire, ichha, desire to be freed from the world by centering your attention in love of God. So focus your mind in loving God. That is the ultimate goal, and that we should pray for or practice. So here this this verse has been explained by Swami Prabhupada in the Narada's Way of Divine Love on page 78, verse number 33. There it says, therefore, those who desire to transcend all limitations and bondage of birth and death, of all the pairs of opposites in this relative world, must accept supreme love as the highest goal. So what one should do, one should always focus that the highest goal is to achieve devotion. They call God realization, but in another word, it is attaining love for God, intense love for God. So unfailing love for God. And God is the resort of all bliss and joy. So be one with that bliss and joy, or swim in the joy of joy, which is God. That is the goal. So in another language, it is to get liberation, liberated from this worldly bondage. One should love God and reach that love, saturate himself in that love. That's why you should be a bhakta. You should be a bhakta. Bhakta means a devotee. Devotee means he is devoted to God and God alone, and all ego is gone. His or her whole body, mind, soul, everything is absorbed in the love of God. That's why Ramakrishna said, this in that mood it becomes, your eyes become love eyes, your ears become love ear, your every whole parts of your body become made of love as it were. Huh? That means so much saturated in the feeling of that intense attraction for the Lord that you transform yourself totally. So that should be the goal. So therefore, those who desire to transcend all limitation, those people who want to free from the worldly bondage or wants to be liberated, so they should have to take shelter in the practice of devotion. That's why you find that even the Gyanis, at the end they say, Jnana is good, but Jnana can not lead you to the ultimate experience. It gets stuck here in the brain. Intellectual understanding, clarity, very good, so that you become clear. But love should generate in the heart so that you can feel the love in yourself. It's just as the example, by you are hungry, you see food, nice food somewhere. By seeing, your hunger will not be satiated. You have to eat and absorb. So bhakti is that should be, what is God? What is God's love? You have to feel it, you have to experience it, you have to absorb it in every moment of your life. So that should be the, therefore, those who desire to transcend all limitations, and bondages. What are the bondage? Limitation. Limitation is the birth and death, suffering and pain, miseries and all these dualities in which we live. So these are opposites of this relative world, must accept. We have to accept what? Supreme love as the highest goal. So make a point that God is supreme love and I want to be there with Him. It's a, Bhakti keeps a little separation. So I want to enjoy the bliss of the Lord in His presence. So they are along with Him, Sa Lokko, Sa Jujjo, very close to Him, Samippo, in front of Him, like we can see face to face. Sarsti, all these different types of closeness to God. And that's why even the concept, Krishna Loka, the plane of Krishna. People, Krishna Bhaktas, they say, after death we will go to Krishna Loka, Govinda Loka. Golok, Govinda Loka. So Govinda means God, where that plane you go. That means you live in the proximity of that. Ramakrishna devotees may think that we go and live with Ramakrishna. Think that you have been in Dakshineshwar, not this physical Dakshineshwar, but spiritual Dakshineshwar. And there Sri Ramakrishna is singing, dancing, going to ecstasy. Holy Mother is there, Swami Brahmananda, Swami Vivekananda, all they are around, Gulab Ma, Jogin Ma, all these, all are there, and you go there. And you in that environment you are roaming around. See, it's joy, mart of joy. Where is suffering? Where is death? Where is life's another problems? World is not there. So Bhakta wants to live in that proximity. So that should be the goal of Bhakta. So now we read the explanation. The middle verse was Tasmat, therefore, Tasmat Saiva Grajya. Sa means this bhakti, this devotion, this supreme love. That is to be accepted, absorbed by all the mumukshuhu, those who are struggling souls to realization, God realization. That means all devotees should crave for, accept it, that sa, that devotion, eva labhya. God alone can fill our soul. On page 78, God alone can fill our soul. In Him alone is immortal bliss. Until we reach this unitary consciousness, we remain subject to the bondages of birth and death, and to all pairs of opposites, pleasure and pain, virtue and vice, good and bad and everything. So, just to understand, there is no peace, no absolute joy in anything in the world, only in God and God alone. Therefore, in Him means God, alone is immortal bliss. You want to find immortal bliss, and only in God you can find. In anything you get in the world that has some deficiency, it cannot give you absolute joy. It can give momentary joy. It can give you a touch of ecstatic joy. Maybe some people are using substance and drug, instant joy. But you cannot retain that. That's not yours. It is absolute. That is God. In God you can find. So until we reach this Unitarian consciousness, reach that consciousness by prayer, by meditation, or now next chapter we'll be talking about what we should practice, how we should practice every day. We remain subject to the bondage. Unless you love God, the unchanging absolute, the source of all bliss and joy, there is no peace in one's mind. You cannot reach whatever you, millions of dollars cannot give you peace. All the jewelry and ornament cannot give you joy. Big houses, whole 20, all over the world you have your company and multi-billion dollar will not give you joy. Only to absorb in God is that will give you eternal joy. And then at that point, no trouble can create trouble in anyone. There is neither death, neither joy, neither suffering, neither pain, neither disease, neither... So, beyond all. When this supreme love arises, Brahman or God is experienced within the shrine of one's own heart. And so, the supreme love for God, that is a great cry, it should be in the heart. Love for God. I don't want anything, only love. Bhaktas always say, I don't, na dhanang, na janang, na sundaring kavitang bakamae. Oh Lord, Sri Chaitanya, we pray in the morning every day. Na dhanam, not wealth, not material wealth, na janam, many people to follow, good followers of me. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundaring, a beautiful girl or beautiful boy to marry. Na sundaring kavitang bakamai. What I came? Janmani, in life after life. Whatever I am, if I am to born and be like a dust at your feet, no? Janmani. So that is the craving of a true devotee.
It's like born again Christian.
If you love Christ in that way, bhaktas don't want to be one with God. Some of our sadhus, Swami Ranganathananda Swami said, I'll be born again. Why? To work for Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda's work, to preach his message to the whole world. People are crying and suffering from ignorance. Let the message of Vivekananda go. So it is his desire. He has fulfilled his mission in this life, God realization. But he is saying, I will come again. That's why it is said, if I am to come again, many sadhus say, to do Thakur's work, to be with Ramakrishna, like that this is after death. I don't want total annihilation of my ego. I want to be in the heaven, but play with Ramakrishna. And the song, sometimes there's Chandikananda Swami then, Amareo nao tomar khelai, Bahire godai dhori duti pai. He says, Juge juge hori tomaro lilai, niyomor tonu mano pran, pulake nachi ayute pran. My heart swells in joy and bliss, no? Oh Lord, if I am to born again, take me in your divine play. I will be born again and again when you come in whatever form. You, the Lord of the universe, come as avatar. I will come with you and play with you. Please take me as your companion. So devotees will have that faith. They don't care for liberation. Liberation is meaningless for them. To be in presence of him and to work for his mission, to serve him. That's why Bhakta always wants to serve God. And that's why it is said that that's when supreme love for God arises. Brahman or God is experienced within. That means supreme love for God means the heart opens up. All the darkness, all the clouds are removed. And in the sign of our own heart, and the same reality is seen here. As you see here, you see with eyes open everywhere. This is the beauty of the spiritual life. As much as you open up in your heart, as much love you generate in your heart, the Atman, the spirit, the joy swells in your heart. And it will not rest here only. Whatever you look, whatever you see, you will see the spark of that joy everywhere. That's why I always suggest that when you have a good meditation, just go outside and you see how nature is so beautiful that day. Wow, what beautiful flowers. The morning is so beautiful. The trees are so peaceful. The sky is so, and today so many birds are chirping. Every day they are chirping. But that does not become so sweet. The day you are in sweet in your meditation and love for God, that day it reflects everywhere. And when that day when meditation becomes a struggle, you become very annoyed with the mind, you come out, everything, hey, that man, see this, see this, the tree has become dried out, see the flower is bad. Another day, the dried flower, that itself is a source of joy. That means when your heart swells in love for God, you see here only and also see outside. That's the beauty of spiritual life. Sri Ramakrishna said once to his disciples who were seated before him, what he said? Quote, I see Rama, the Supreme Being, seated before me in so many forms. No? We see that so many human beings. Ramakrishna said, you are all sitting, I see all Rama, 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 Rama. And one Rama in so many costumes. I see nothing but Rama. So that will happen. As much joy, that much you see outside. As much your Ishta meditation, you see that Ishta reflecting everywhere. That is result of your Chandogya Upanishad. We read, what we read? Infinite is below, above, behind, before, to the right, to the left. Atma adhastat, Atma uparishtat, Atma uttarata, Atma dakshinata, Atma purvata, Atma paschimata. That Atman is in the east, is in the west. ঠিক আছে বসুন, যেখানে বসুন, যেখানে ইচ্ছে বসুন। So Atma everywhere. Atma, that means that is the real experience. Devotion can take us to that level. So it says that the infinite, that's why it says, Atma is below, Atma is above, self. And another way, infinite is the self is below, above, behind, before, to the right, to the left. I am all. I am all this. I have become all this. One who knows, meditates upon and realizes truth of the self. Such a one delights in the self, reveals in the self, rejoices in the self. So when we develop that love for God, then you see love everywhere. And that is the point, that whatever the scientists, look at that. Scientists, there are 20 people you bring from 20 special disciplines. You bring one physicist, you bring one chemist, you bring one, say, astronomy person. They will be sitting in the same place, but they are seeing something else. Those who are working day and night with the bacteria, no? With under the microscope and this and that. They sit here, they will see everywhere. This my bacteria. What bacteria, what? But our eyes will not see. We can see when rays of light come, see some dust flying. Oh my God, so much dust is there. The dust is now it also here. Those who meditate on one subject, they see the same thing everywhere. So one meditates on God, one will see God everywhere. Very simple formula. Ramakrishna gave the example that when there is a story that if you take the skin of the snake and make a paste of it and make some eyeliner, collyrium. And this, I do not know whether it happens, but Ramakrishna said, if you put that collyrium on the eye, you will see snake everywhere. Ramakrishna said, I do not know. So that means whatever you put in your eyes, you see the same thing. You put the green glass, you see green everywhere. You put the blue, the glass blue, you see blue everywhere. That means the world is blue or green or white, or it is bacteria, or it is non-bacteria, or it is dust and dirt, or what. It is micro particle. We are walking in the parking lot. No, I don't see anything. But say, don't walk much. Here is always micro particle, micro rubber. There's always the freeway and is going on. As a micro particle is entering into your lungs. True. But I don't see it. So I say, no, it's very good. So if these are the realities of physical life, so spiritual life also, if we can charge our heart with divinity, with love for God, that love will manifest in everywhere. That's why you find the bhaktas, they love, as much they are developing inside, so much love, so much compassion, so much empathy, sympathy grows with them spontaneously. They become a loving person. They become so much considerate for others' difficulties and suffering. They go out of the way to help others, even risking their own life. So that is the spontaneous thing. There is a sign of spirituality. One person is saying, I am spiritual, but if you are becoming selfish, that's why Swami Vivekananda said, if you are selfish and become spiritual, there is some problem. It is not. You are meditating, also becoming quarrelsome every day. Then something is wrong. No meditation, that is. Chandogya Upanishad say, Dhyana padang saivaivate ye kalahino pishuna. Those people who will find quarrelsome, who find always the dirty side of others, kalahino, pishuna, upavadino, they are always, they will come and put his leg upon your leg and say, you hit me? And he will hit you and blame you. So this type of nature will come. Those who do not meditate. Upanishad, Chandogya says, those who upavadinastehe, kalahino pishuna upavadinastehe, ye dhyana padang saivaivate, and those who meditate, they will be shanta, they will be peaceful, they will radiate peace, they will give peace to others, they will be source of joy to others. That's the beauty of... So loving God means love should give this result, physical result. You need to see what is the result of your meditation coming out. Are you transforming yourself? Are you changing yourself for better, for higher spirituality, for higher consideration, because God is everywhere. This is the fundamental point. God is not only sitting here in your heart, or in some heaven if you think even, but God is everywhere. Unless you take that philosophy, you don't love God. That's why it is said, to serve God is to serve His children. Very gross example. You have a baby with mom. So you need not look at the mother. You ignore her. But you play with the baby. Give something to entice the baby, and baby is happy. See, Ma will be very kind to you. Because similarly, God, we are all God's children. You need not have to just say, ha ha ha, oh Lord, oh Lord. You serve the children of God, then God will be happy. So that's why Christ said, when I was naked, you gave me clothing. When I was hungry, you gave me food. No? Are you hungry people? And he is saying, you gave me clothing, you gave me food. Yes, that is the service to God. So that's the Vedanta, in Ramakrishna order or in Vedanta movement. That is the prime philosophy. That you are serving whom you are serving. You are serving God only. So bring that love along with that. Otherwise the karma will be sweetened. Karma is dry. Karma is always something rubbing. Rubbing means always it comes frustration, anger, because work has its own normal negative reactions. But when it is with the love for God one does, it becomes smooth. So আমি যত ভার কুড়ায়ে লয়েছি সকলই হয়েছে বোঝা. Everything what I have collected by ego, I will do, that has become a burden on me. তুমি যত ভার দিয়েছ বন্ধু সকলই হয়েছে সোজা. You have given some load on me. But whatever has come from you, if I understand it has come from you, it has become easy to carry. So love God, that's the criterion of it. And with that love, as one develops, the heart opens up, and then that heart opening gives the joy here, as also his vision changes. He sees God among all, and God's children are God in the heart of all.
In the other way also, like the Skanda Mata form in that Navadurga, if you please Skanda Mata, then by default you get the blessings of Skanda, the children, the child of Mata.
That is okay, but we are getting, everyone is pleasing the skanda, but not God. Say the child, you please the child, but you forget Mata is pleased automatically. But everyone is charging some of his son or forgetting God. They are not getting the same benefit. So you have to understand that through this service I am serving God. So that will open up the heart. And that's the love for God is the key point. How shall I love God? Loving His children and loving God here and serving God, thinking of God. Marana, Dasso. We read in the other book, Dhairjat, 7, 8 stages we read that we forgot already. What the book we read before? Nectar of Bhakti. Bhakti Ratnamali, Nectar of Devotion naki chilo. Anyhow. So, Sankara describing the state of an illumined soul who has attained the Unitarian consciousness says, what he says? No matter what he is doing, walking, standing, sitting or lying down, the illumined seer whose delight is in the Atman lives in the joy of freedom. According to Vedanta, he lives in freedom, whether he is sitting, whether he is standing, whether he is working, whether he is even in the ordinary way of behaving with human being. But his heart is filled with joy and he feels the freedom, eternal freedom. So this describes the illumined seer who has attained the supreme love, the complete unfoldment of divinity. That must be the goal of human being. So this is the verse number 33. I will read it from the other book also. And here the part, this part, 33 verse, the part dealing with para-bhakti ends here. What is the sign of bhakti? Para-bhakti, that definition of bhakti ends here. Para-bhakti, the para means the supreme, bhakti means the love. The love we have, that is called bhakti or devotion. But para means supreme love, pure love. That is the highest realization which is of the nature of liberation. That bhakti, we love everyone. That love does not make us free. Rather, that love makes us into bondage. When we love anyone, minus God, only because of the beauty or the personality or the education or the money or the wealth, whatever, it does not give joy. It gives momentary and then it goes away. But if it is loved with God, is God in that, that's why I love, then that turns gradually to para-bhakti, supreme bhakti. So para-bhakti is the highest realization which is of the nature of liberation, that brings liberation. A religious aspirant should always therefore accept it as the summit of all values. It is not an auxiliary value or a means to a higher human end. Bhakti is not a means to reach somewhere. Bhakti leads to parabhakti. This love for God, practice, 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 when it becomes intensified, it becomes intense love. And intense love leads you to freedom. Main thing you have to understand. You can love anything in the world, but understand, is it giving you freedom or is it making you bringing you in bondage? If it brings in bondage, whatever you name it, how much sugar-coated term you can use it, but it is not love. It is degrading you. So, it is all a religious aspirant like us should therefore accept it as the summit of all values. It means this parabhakti, this supreme love, as the summit of all values. It is not an auxiliary value. Okay, auxiliary value means primarily you get, this is an extra. Auxiliary means here extra. No. You do this, you go sometimes, you buy one, get one. No? You buy one, but you get one. It's auxiliary. It's not auxiliary. It is the goal. This devotion is the goal. And devotion mature, lead you to supreme love, parabhakti. And it is not auxiliary value or means to reach somewhere. No? People say, okay, by this, as we say in Vedanta, this is distinction. Vedanta, you say you do your meditation, you do your prayer. For what? Because God is already with you. It will only remove the dust and dirt. So dust and dirt removal is your sadhana, but it is giving the result. Result is liberation. But bhakti is not that you wipe out your dust and dirt and you will reach somewhere else. You practice bhakti, you practice love, you cry for God, you weep for God, you feel the pangs of separation with God, and following this, you become absorbed and absorbed and absorbed in God. What a beautiful idea. Your practice of bhakti. What is the practice of bhakti? Normally, devotion. Oh Lord, you are my own, please help me. Prayer with the tears in the eyes. Another day, oh Lord God, I didn't see you. Ramakrishna taught us what is pure love. And if that love increases and increases and increases, that will lead us what? To that love only. You will get absorbed in Him only. So the same practice is leading to the absorption, deeper absorption. Same love is leading you to the parabhakti, supreme love. And that parabhakti gives you what? Gives you total freedom. Freedom from all suffering. Suffering will be there. You will be unaffected. Pleasure will be there. You will be unaffected to the pleasure. Pain will come in life. You will be unaffected by that. And that's a total freedom. You don't care for anything in the world. So you become totally absorbed in God. So Haridas. There is a story of Javana Haridas. Javana means Muslim. He was born in the family of the Muslim, and then he fell in love with chanting the name of Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And being born as a Muslim, and if you take the name of not of Allah and do something, that is very much punishable and torturous. So the people complain that this man is born in a Muslim family and she is day and night saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And it went to the judge, it's called the Hakim. And the judgment came. You ask him to stop the name, don't take Krishna name of Krishna anymore. Take the name of Allah. But how much you say, he goes on repeating Krishna, Krishna. Then the judgment came. They take him to the marketplaces. And so the punishment, what is the punishment if you don't follow your own religion and take the religion of Hindus or Krishna, Krishna, who is gods and goddesses, the punishment is this: you will be caned to death. So not in one place. Cane one place. If he dies, okay. If does not, take to the another. 22 bazaar, 22 marketplaces, take him and cane to death. And he was taken, and he is saying Krishna, 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 Krishna. In the example, read the life. It's a historic person. You're not talking about some created gossip. And then, see, we are called pleasure and pain, no? If someone pricks a pin in our body and gives just a slap, how we react, no? And he is giving the jallad, they are coming and then whipping with a cane and bleeding here, there, everywhere, bleeding. But he is Krishna, 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 Krishna. He is not dead. They got exhausted. And then they took him to another marketplace. See, ultimately those who are being given the order to cane him, he prayed to that holy man, so please, you die, please. Otherwise, our head will go away. I will be penalized because I am not, what type of caning I am doing, that this man is not dying and you are, so the judge will order my head. None, severe punishment is there for this type of thing. So, they say, okay. Then he actually appeared like a dead after 22 marketplaces, beating like that, all over bleeding, and you can imagine what. And he was thrown into the Ganga. And he thought that everyone is dead. But he, by God's grace, he was saved and he went out. And then whole life he led, and that the Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And he was the companion of Sri Chaitanya, the ISKCON. The founder of the movement is Sri Chaitanya. And Sri Chaitanya, when he really died, he is a Muslim, Hindu Muslim, no. He is a devotee. Sri Chaitanya took his body and just took him to cremation. Cremation or what he did, I do not know. But in Puri, Jagannath's place, he himself took him. Bhagavan, God himself, took the body of that Muslim guy and took him. And he was staying with Sri Chaitanya for a long time in Puri, Jagannath. Puri is like, Jagannath's place is the place like Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar. So, Sri Chaitanya in Puri. Sri Chaitanya's stay was in Puri. So I am saying what is, that see the force and power of the Lord's name. And that man is so absorbed in God's name, so much of going into the body, all bleeding and almost, one cannot survive to such caning. And 22 marketplace, one after another. And he is not injured, suffering. He is totally absorbed. See what type of love he has got, how his mind is absorbed in God consciousness. That is called the para-bhakti. That is sign of para-bhakti. And he is not angry with anybody. He is repeating the name, and what is happening, the body is going through, what can I do? So, can anyone think of that? That is called spirituality. Whatever external thing happens, they are not touched by it, not bothered by it. So higher, a religious aspirant should therefore accept it as the summit of all values. It is not an auxiliary value or a means to a higher human end. The Bhakti school consider moksha, liberation, in any other form than parama prema or supreme love, as stated above, trivial. As stated above, trivial. The following statement, Narayana para shanta na kutaschana vibhyati, is quoting from Bhagavat, that those mind gone for the Lord Narayana Krishna, No kutaschana bibhati. They don't get frightened for anything. You give their life and death threat or kill them or put him to torture, they don't crave for anything. Sargo, apavargo, narakeshupi, tullarthadarshino. They see whether you keep him in heaven or in hellish punishment, or for them it is both are same. Because their mind is not there. They remain in the divine realm. Also another quotation is giving, Dharmartha kama maksheshu necha mama kadachana nishinga pancharatra tatpada pankaja sadho jivitang diyatang mama. A prayer. I have no desire for falling to be righteous, to be moneyed man, to fulfill my desire, or even for liberation. I have nothing as such. I only want that give me devotion so that I can hold on to your feet till I live in the world. Bhukti mukti pradas priha javot pisachi na hridi vartate tavad bhakti sukhasantna katham abhudayet bhavet. Jiva Goswami says, Bhukti Bhukti means bhoga, mukti means liberation. Spriha, this desire that I will enjoy this, I will be liberated. This type of desire is also when it's gone from the heart, so long it does not go from the heart, tavat bhakti sukha sat na katham abhudayat. You will not be saturated in bhakti unless that desire also goes, that I don't care for liberation even, I don't care for suffering, I don't care for liberation. I love you, O Lord, I love you and love you and love you. So that is the verse number 33. Now today, as I said, we will start 34, which the chapter starts, a new chapter in the same verses. They are made sub-chapters, but this chapter in the book is called the How to Attain Supreme Love, chapter 5 on page 80. What is that verse? The verse says, now, the sadhana. Sadhana means these are good things, but you have to practice. What to practice? How to be a bhakta? Mere talking will not do. Reading books will not do. So you have to practice something so that your heart swells in the love of joy. It becomes saturated and absorbed in God's name, and you find pleasure in His name. And how will you follow? What will you do day by day? So those are the sadhana. So, prema rupa bhakti sadhan, and the sadhan means spiritual practice of this bhakti, prema rupa, which leads you to intense love for God. Bhakti may be ritualistic bhakti. You go to the temples and churches, they are doing bhakti. In a Christian church, it is a bhakti upasana. You go pray, major thing is you pray. Bhakti. You put candle in Mother Mary's place. Prayer, no? To the saint's place, you go and put. So, this is bhakti. But this is only preliminary of bhakti. Real bhakti should be prema. I am falling in love with God. Nothing matters in my life. So that intense love, that bhakti, what are the practice? What practices we should follow to reach that destination of supreme love? It is called the supreme love. It is called the Vaidhi Bhakti and Raga Bhakti. Vaidhi or Gauni. Gauni means secondary. So what do? We pluck flowers. We bring a bouquet of flowers to the Lord. We bring candies to the Lord. It's bhakti, sign of bhakti. You have some love, that's why you think, I am bringing for God. But no, more intense sadhana is there, more intense practices are there. So they will discuss this. And the greatness, the importance of the satsanga, holy company. What is the grand effect of holy company? So these two will be in this chapter. How to attain the supreme love and what is the glory of holy company. Now, verse number 34 says, Tasya sadhanani gayanti acharyaha. Tasya means of that supreme love. Tasya sadhana. Sadhana means the practices, spiritual practices. Sadhanani, it is multiple. Sadhana, only one practice. Sadhanani, multifarious practices. Sadhanani are, I am not saying, see the humility of Narada. Narada says, I am not saying, I do not know anything. But Gayanti, Acharyaha. Acharya means the masters, the enlightened masters who have talked about this bhakti. They have prescribed what are those practices for prema bhakti, the supreme bhakti. That Acharya, what they have said, I am just representing them. What are those? So it is the 34th verse. So its explanation is given here. The great teachers describe in hymns and songs the following as the means of attaining supreme love. So 35, 36 they will continue to say in verse numbers coming day. But what are all these practices? What we can do every day? Naam japa, repetition all the name. Haridas, the Muslim Haridas, Javana Haridas, his name is Javana. He is Haridas, repeating the name only. Krishna, 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 Krishna. He has no moment to stop that. Continuously, how much practice he has done and how much intensely he has practiced, that in the face of so much torture, he is not getting deviated from that. How much absorption it can bring. Holy Mother said, repeat the name. So, japa is one means. So, they will tell us. So, let me see what this explanation is given here as the 34th verse. It is a long explanation. Here, Swami Prabhupada says on page 80, I have translated the Sanskrit word acharya. Acharya means as the great teachers. Or enlightened teacher, we say, it is great teachers. The word has a deep significance. Who is said to be a spiritual teacher? Who can be a spiritual teacher? He who has directly experienced the truth of God. He who has attained that supreme love is the acharya. He is a teacher, he is a acharya. Acharya who has experienced the supreme love. Here, Bhakti book. Who has love in his life or her life manifested, like Mirabai. Mirabai may be acharya because she has experienced the love for God, supreme love for God. She can give up everything. She was a queen, gave up her that palace and all the how much humiliation and torture she had to go through because she loved Krishna. Like that. Javana Haridas is one example. Mirabai is another example. If you read the life of Mirabai, wonderful you will find. And you read the life of Alwars in the South India, how they dedicate themselves for loving God. He who has directly experienced the truth and who has attained that supreme love is called Acharya, the real teacher. He is moved by compassion for his fellow beings and helps the spiritual aspirants to realize the same truth. There is power behind the words he speaks. Mere book learning is of no avail. So they have practiced so much and they don't sit idle. They see our suffering and they come into our life and just advises us, gives us their counseling. But they are not, they themselves are established in joy. That is the major point. They are full of joy, full of love for God, and they get absorbed. And she sees that children are suffering so much, so they go and help others. They are called acharya. Definition of ideal teacher. Acharya means ideal teacher. To quote Sankara, now he is quoting from Viveka Chudamani. He says, erudition, Bhagvaikari, Shabda Jhuri, well articulated speech, Sabda Vyakkhanu Kaushalam, a wealth of words, and skill in expounding the scriptures, Tadvad Bhuktaye, Natu Muktaye, these are all giving pleasure to the learned, but they do not bring liberation. Study of the scriptures is fruitless as long as Brahman has not been experienced. There they are talking about Brahman. Here is bhakti for God, love for God. Now the question arises, what need is there to practice spiritual disciplines? For we have already shown in aphorism 30 that supreme love or the experience of Brahman is not an effect, nor is it dependent on any cause. And God is already there all the time. You did not have to bring God from somewhere else. Oh, he is waiting there, okay, sir, please come to me. No, he is already now, at this point he is here. But I do not know. I don't experience. Why? There is a barrier. There is ignorance. There is my cravings. My mind is distracted to 1,000 things in the world. I love this, I love this, I love this, I love this. Because I love this, mind does not love God. So that is not to bring God, but to reduce our desires from outside things, which are momentary, which we know that not eternal. So that supreme love does not generate because of this. It is already an accomplished fact. The divinity is already there within each human soul. It is Vedantic term. You can say the God full of love is there within everyone. Only there is ignorance covering it. As we read the Gospel according to St. John, what is that quote? And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. No? There, in the darkness, there is the light. That's why in the song of Mother Kali, we sing such song. They say, what they say? Nibido adhare matur chamokeo rupurashi. In the deep darkness, there you stand and your bright, brilliant light emanates from yourself. That fulfills my heart. So here the St. John is saying, and the light shineth in darkness. That light of the self shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Spiritual disciplines are needed to remove the darkness or ignorance. This truth, on page 81, is also emphasized in another way by the doctrine of divine grace. As we read in Katha Upanishad, the self is not known through study of the scriptures, not through subtlety of the intellect, not through much learning. Whom the self chooses, by him is he attained. Verily until unto him does the self reveals his true nature, true being. But whom does he choose? The Upanishad says, who is chosen by him? But whom he chooses? He chooses him who longs for him. He is asking to come. You ask, help him to come to you. He is not attracted to you and he is busy with other things. If you go and say, hey, will you come? Why he will come? So if we are busy with the world and worldliness, if God calls us, why shall we come? I have my busy schedule here. That's why people, even many are called, but the few are chosen means few people respond to that call. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, practice the spiritual discipline as taught by Guru, and then that longing of yearning for God will arise. The darkness of the night vanishes when the sun rises. Weep for him, yearn with a longing heart, and the sun of knowledge will arise and darkness will vanish. This is the overall truth again and again. That means practice. Practice spiritual discipline, And Guru has told us, and the longing, not practice like repeating the mantra. I do 10,000 japa. What is that? Huh? Only repeating the name and running on their wheel. No? Buddhists do that. There is a prayer wheel, they call prayer wheel. They hold in the hand and then say, Om Mani Padme Hum, and give a good push, and it starts rotating. As many times it has rotated, that much is japa. They have made it more mechanical. But no, with meaning, understanding what you are praying, your mantra should be so deep, it will touch your heart. You will feel, after practice some days you will feel that you are practicing. Once you are saying, your heart is as if feeling the touch of that connection with God. So that type of, weep for him, yearn with longing heart, and the sun of knowledge will arise. Shankara points out faith, devotion and constant union with God through prayer. These are declared by the sacred scriptures to be the seeker's direct means of liberation. Shankara also says that faith, devotion and constant union with God. God is there, faith, devotion, I am practicing to feel His presence, and with prayer, whenever trying to unite with Him. So these are the declared with the sacred scriptures, seekers' direct means of liberation. A buried treasure is not uncovered by merely uttering the word comfort, comfort. You must follow the right direction, dig, remove the stone and earth from above it, and then make it your own. In the same way, the pure truth of Atman, which is buried under Maya, and the effect of Maya can be reached by meditation, contemplation, and other spiritual disciplines, such as a knower of Brahman may prescribe, but never by subtle arguments. So it is, Shankara says, that you have to dig the ground. Apto thito khananam. Shankara says in Vivek Chudamani, that if you know there is a treasure in the ground, no? What you do? Oh, there is gold, there is gold, there is gold. Gold will come. You will have to dig that. And if you dig, you will find after some time there is a stone come. Cut the stone. Dig further. Go, there will be some other obstacle. Go, 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 and you will receive the gold. So similarly, dive deep, dive deep, dive deep. Ramakrishna sang, Dubu 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 rup sagore amar mon. Oh my mind, dive deep, dive deep, dive deep into the depth of my heart. No? So we end here. We'll have to read another 1.5 page. We'll read the next day. So this is the point we have started to know, how to attain that supreme love. And we are on the verse number 34. We read up to little bit of that, and we'll finish it, or we'll read it next day. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So there is some question. Let me for a few seconds. How to become dispassionate towards the world and at the same time be helpful and serve and overlook their negative attributes as much as possible. Please share some story of Swami Vijnananda Maharaj in context of supreme love. Yeah, it's a very big question. We have no time for all this, and we have already discussed how to become dispassionate. Love God. We are reading that. We have said that the story of the what? Story of the Javana Haridas, to repeat the name in so much absorption with love that he is totally indrawn and is full of bliss. Though his body being tortured, he is not aware of it. So process is what? Let us repeat the mantra. Let us with love and affection. That is the way. Get absorbed, get absorbed, get absorbed. That we have to practice, deep practice. And Vijnananda Maharaj's life, you read the Vijnananda Swami's life, you can find it. Yesterday, no, day before yesterday, Anirban, if you can check on our YouTube, and then you, after evening prayer, there was a short reading on Swami Vijnananda Maharaj's life. So you can read that, and you will find that how he got intoxicated in the love of God. Okay? Thank you. Jai Ma. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Now at 7:30 we'll meet you again. And Nectar of Supreme Knowledge. We have done synopsis of chapter 1. We wanted to make it synoptic of all the chapters. But I do not know what we'll do. Okay, let us wait.